All right, so recording is there. Okay, so we are slowly trying to understand details about network programming using Java language, right? That is what we are doing. We have seen the connection-oriented programming using the sockets, using the classes called server socket and socket class. There are two classes, right? Server socket and socket class. Using them, we are actually trying to uh, bind the server to a known port and connect to the server from the client by using the socket server, socket class. Okay, so that we have already done that. We have written some programs. Hope all of you are following. I also uploaded yesterday, like all these Java files also onto my drive, the one that I shared to all of you, right? So you can probably take a look into that and then make changes, whatever that you want. Okay. So now, like, we want to examine today the connectionless mechanism of developing client server programs using Java language. For that, you have two different classes. For that, you have two different classes again. We don't actually start the server and bind it to any known port. We don't bind it. But definitely, like a server need to be known to all the clients, right? So if it is to be known to all the clients, definitely server must run on a specific port. Clients can have any port because when they request, they send their port. So when they want to request the server, they should know the server details, including the IP address and port number. Okay, so we have two classes now. One is called as datagram socket. The other one is called datagram packet. Datagram socket and datagram packet. Datagram socket is useful to get a socket that can be used to send the packet or receive the packet. Remember that. Socket is the only mechanism by which you can communicate. Right? So the datagram socket is going to be useful to send the packets and receive the packets. What is a packet? Packet is basically is going to contain the data that is to be sent or received. And may also contain what? May also contain the destination IP address and port number. Destination IP address and port number. Right? So we will examine that. It's a very simple mechanism. And remember that the packet is going to contain the data in the form of an array of bytes. Right? Always any kind of data that you want to send must be converted into an array of bytes. Must be converted into an array of bytes because packet can send only an array of bytes. And you have a number of classes by which you can convert any kind of data into a byte array. That you can examine by learning the Java language. I will show you some examples. Others you should be able to easily follow it. The sense that whatever data that you want to send must be converted into an array of bytes. And that array of bytes is the data that you will be sending to the other side using the datagram approach. Using the datagram approach. By examining a program, you will be able to see very easily. What all that you will be doing essentially here in client-server programming, server will start and start listening or will wait for the request from the client. That is the approach, right? So the server will be waiting for any kind of request from the client. And client will send the request, right? Will send the request in the form of a packet maybe. Now, in the case of the datagram, client will send a datagram packet to the server. Server will receive the datagram packet from the client. After receiving the packet, it is going to examine the data and do whatever processing that is required as per the client request, and ultimately send the reply back to the client. Right? That's all what it is. It is a simple protocol. First, the client sends the request, server receives the request, do the required processing on the data, and then send the response back to the client. Client will receive the response and then maybe do whatever. This is all the client server programming is. This is all the client server programming is. Okay, so now let me examine the programs related to them. Right? Let us examine the programs. Then using that, if you have any difficulty, you can raise the questions and all that. First, what we will do, we will study the server program. Server program. See here, import java.net.star. I think all of you can see the like fonts and all that. Do you want to still increase?
No,
Font
sir.
size, font size is okay, right? Font size is okay. So if it is okay, right? This is what it is. So first we are trying to import the java.net.star because all your network programming classes are there in the package called java.net. And then java.io.star import because all your communication happens in the form of ultimately IO actually. In this case, I don't know whether you really require IO or not. Maybe, I don't know, or may not be. We'll look into that. Because it is not connection oriented, you are not likely to use the IO related thing because you will be using the datagram related mechanisms themselves. We'll study that. But to be safe for network programming, these two packages you can always import java.io.star. And then public class name, any class name. What all that you are saying is datagram echo server. It may not be echoing actually. To begin with, I started with echo, but later I converted that to what it is, uppercase kind of mechanism. Whatever data that client sends, right, it will convert it into uppercase and give a reply. That's what we are actually trying to do that. It's a simple mechanism. Client will read one line from the standard input from the keyboard or whatever. Client will type in, right? Or probably let me show you what we are actually trying to do it in the beginning itself, right? So how are you going to run the program? First server program must be executed. First server program must be executed. Echo server, right? So DG echo. So right. And this must be executed in the background. So you put ampersand. Running. So this is running, right? This is running right now. Now we can run the client program. First we are trying to study like what it is actually doing, so that from that we will explain the program. So here I want the client, right? So client, just simply enter. Now, as you can see, no prompting here. We are not prompting anything, but it is waiting actually for the data to be typed. I can type in the data now. That may be line 1 or something like that. You see now, the line 1 is read by our client program, and it is sending that line 1 in the lowercase or whatever as it is to the server. Server receives that line 1, converts that into uppercase, and sends the uppercase converted data back to the client. Client receives that response from the server, and then whatever is received is going to be printed. So because the received one is converted in the uppercase, you are getting the converted entity. This you can go on, right? So this can go on like this, network. So it says network, programming, whatever. So it goes on like this until there is some protocol mechanism. In the protocol, you have mentioned that whenever end is typed, maybe that's the end of the corresponding thing. So end, you say, end is there. So the client is terminated. But if you examine, the server is still running. Server is still running. If you want, you can again run the client once again. So server is forever ready to serve the purpose. So power is there in network, right? Something like that. So it goes on in this particular manner. So it is a very simple program in that particular area. Now that you understand like what you are actually doing, let us now examine the code. Right? So this is the one. It can be much simplified in fact, but anyhow, it is developed in the form of a class actually. Using the class, you can actually, what it is, use this particular class in other program and like start the echo server or whatever, that kind of stuff is possible. Anyhow, let us examine what we are actually doing. So this is a class now, as we know. And within the class, what we are trying to do, it is a datagram based one. So you declare all of them. Datagram socket, private datagram socket, socket variable. And then just now we said, you will be sending and receiving array of bytes. Array of bytes. So that's why you have to declare an array of bytes. So private byte array buff equal to new byte of 256. So this is how you create an array with 256 bytes. Right? These two variables you have declared. So they are now a part of the what? Part of the DG Echo Server object. Whenever you create DG Echo Server object by using a new mechanism, you will get all these things. Then after creating the object, you have to run appropriate methods and all that. That we will be studying. So once you develop any class, what is the next thing? You must also develop the constructor method. Constructor method. Because in this now you are in the network programming, so nothing is guaranteed. They are likely to throw the exceptions. So we have to properly design. So you can say now public DG Echo Server. This is a method, constructor method, to construct the object of this particular class. Because now you are using the datagram socket, you are trying to create it and all that. It may be successful or it may be failure. So that's why you are saying throws exception. Throws exception. So that it's going to be handled at a later stage in some other method, whatever. We are not going to do anything here at this particular stage. So what is that you are doing here? You are creating the socket so that the socket can receive and send the packets. That's the purpose. That's all what it is. So you say socket equal to new datagram socket of port number. What is the port on which your program must be running so that clients can connect? It's not connect actually. Clients can send and receive the packets. So this port number, you can choose any number. It doesn't matter. as long as it is more than, to be safe, a kind of 1024 or whatever, because the port numbers below that are meant for useful servers like Telnet, FTP, HTTP, that kind of stuff. Anyhow, new datagram socket of 4445. It is such a simple thing. So once you create the object of this class, this socket is ready. Then you can use that socket to send and receive the packets. To send and receive the packets as a part of that. Now, after creating the object, you will be calling the method called run method. This method name can be given any name. It doesn't matter. No need to have only run. Anyhow, we have selected that to be run like this. So public void run throws exception. Again, here also, it is likely to be a problem. So you say throws exception. What is to be done here? The server must be running forever. It must run forever, right? So that's why you say while true. Right? While true forever. What is to be done? What is the functioning of the server? Forever, it should receive a packet from any client, convert that packet into uppercase, and send the reply back to the same client. That's all what you have to do it. Right? To do all that, because sending and receiving what are you doing? You are actually sending and receiving the packets. So to send and receive the packets, you must create a packet object. That's what you are doing actually. So here you specify byte array followed by yes. Byte array followed by yes. There is no space that is actually there. Like we will see what we are actually doing. So right now, as you can see, this variable name is yes, remember, right? So there is a purpose for that, right? We will look into that. Byte array followed by yes. And then datagram packet we require. So you say datagram packet followed by packet. Remember, it is a slightly similar kind of name. Datagram socket meant for sending and receiving the packets. So packet will contain the actual data, remember. So datagram packet variable name is equal to new datagram packet of. How are you creating this datagram packet? Out of what? Out of an array of bytes. That's what you have to specify. This buffer can be anything. You can give any name. But this buffer should have enough space to receive the data or send the data, basically. So that's why you are creating a datagram packet out of an array of bytes. So you specify new datagram packet of buff, buff. What is the size of that? Buff dot length. How much is the array size? That's what you are actually specifying. Buff dot length. This is one kind of constructor actually, where you are not specifying any IP address and port number. You are only specifying the array of bytes so that packet can be constructed. Because now we want to use this particular packet to receive the information. So whenever you are receiving the information, you don't know the IP address and port number of the client right now. At the time of creating the datagram packet, you don't know. That's why you don't have to supply here. You have to supply only the array of buffer so that you can receive the incoming packet. So this is what you have to do it before receiving. Once this is done, the packet is created. Now you can use the socket to receive the packet. You see, socket dot receive of packet. Now the socket object that is already created in the constructor is used to receive a packet. So after receiving the packet, what will be there? What changes will be there? Changes will be there in this object called packet. To this packet, what did we say? Any data that is incoming must be stored into this array. That's how you are actually binding. You can't directly specify dot receive of array of buffer, array of bytes. You will always specify the packet only, because array of bytes will only contain the data actually. But the packet contains data as well as the IP address and port number, all those details will be there. And you require all of them for sending and receiving purposes. So that's how it is actually. So socket dot receive of packet. Once it is done, as you know, now the packet contains the actual data. So now, what is our idea here? Client is sending a string actually. It is sending a string of characters. So, but that string is converted right now into array of bytes. So you should now convert that array of bytes back into string. Back into string. So that's what we are actually doing here. After receiving the packet, convert the array of bytes into a string format. So you say string received is equal to new string of, you specify the array of bytes, buff comma, but that array contains lot many characters, like 256 bytes or whatever. But your client might have sent only 4 characters. Like for example, some 4 character string it has sent. Then you have to specify only that much length. So that's why you are saying new string of buff comma, right? This buff now is filled with incoming packet after receiving this socket dot receive. Remember that. So buff comma, then starting from the 0th byte itself, from the within the buffer, starting from the 0th up to that particular line. So after receiving the packet has got a method. There are many methods within that. In fact, one of them happens to be get length. So packet.getLength will tell you how many bytes of data is actually received. Actual number of bytes received is available in packet.getLength. Similarly, if you want to get the data also, there is another method called packet.getData. Here, instead of buff, you can also use packet.getData. Because we know that packet is bound to the buff. So we are directly using buff here. But you can also use packet.getData if you want. Right? So at the end of this now, the array of bytes is converted back into the string format and stored into the variable called received. Now that received contains the string, you want to convert that into uppercase. So you say received dot, received dot to uppercase, right? There is a method on the string, this thing to convert that. And that we are again storing back into received. So received equal to received dot to uppercase. So we have converted, but now the converted string must be sent back to the client. Now this packet here, this packet contains at the end of the receiving, will contain the IP address and port number of the client actually. Will also contain the IP address and port number of the client, which we will see anyhow. So now that we need to know actually. Strictly speaking, you don't require all these things. So straight away here itself we can say that would have been much easier. It doesn't matter, but you are knowing. So there is a class called INET address, internet address related thing, to store the internet address, that IP address, right? INET, the corresponding class is INET address. Variable name is equal to what is the address, IP address of the client that is available in the packet actually, because at the end of this receive, the packet will contain IP address of the incoming packet. So that how do you get to know that? By using packet.getAddress. See, there are so many get methods. Get length returns length of the data. Get data returns the actual data in array of bytes format. Get address returns the IP address in INET address format in that particular object actually. So you are storing that. Similarly, port number is there in get port, packet.get port. Because you require IP address and port number to give the reply back to appropriate client. So whenever you want to send any packet, you have to first construct the packet, right? That's what you are now doing here, as you can see, right? But after converting this into uppercase, what are we doing? Because we can't send the string directly. We have to convert that string into byte format, array of byte format. That you can do it easily by using received.getBytes. On a string object, whenever you use getBytes method, it returns the string data in the form of array of bytes. And it is returning that, and that you are storing it into the variable called yes. That's why here you have declared the actual space required for storing the array of bytes will be done by the string method itself. GetBytes itself will actually create that array of bytes, store all of them into that, and return the corresponding object. So that's why you have yes here. You don't have to create the byte array object. You are only, as you can see, you are getting in this particular form. After doing all of them, now you have to create the datagram packet. So you say new datagram packet of. As you can see, there are two formats, two constructor formats for datagram packet. One is datagram packet with buffer, that is array of bytes, and then the length. Only two parameters. Because here you don't know the incoming IP address and port number. You are not going to give here, but that will be filled by the receive method. The other two, IP address and port, will be filled by the receive method. Whereas whenever you are sending, you should tell what is the IP address and port number. So that's what you are actually doing. New datagram packet of, what is the array from which you have to do it? Yes here. Yes is the one that contains the array of bytes related to uppercase thing. So yes. But how much should you send? How much of the data should you send? So as many characters as the number of characters present in yes. So naturally here, the received string is there, right? Received string contains all the characters. So received dot length. This received dot length is nothing but in fact the existing packet dot get length also. You can also say packet dot get length also. No issue. So yes, comma received dot length. And then where should this packet must be delivered? To which address? So that address also you are specifying. Here, instead of declaring these two here, you can as well specify here packet.get address also, if we want. No issue. Directly you can say here packet.get address, in which case you don't have to even declare all these variables and all that. No issue. Right? That way also you can try it out. So address, comma, port. Port is the port. So what are these? What is this address and port? This address and port is the address and port of the client, where you want to give the reply back. So after creating the datagram packet, what do? Send the packet. How do you send it? By using the socket. So you say socket.send off the packet. Simple mechanism actually, right? Except that because somebody else has developed all these classes and methods. So without studying the classes, and what are the methods inside, what is the purpose of each one, you cannot write the program, no doubt about it. But in the process, we are slowly developing. General idea we know. So what is datagram and like what to do and all that. You have to receive a packet, you have to do the processing, you have to send the packet back. So all that exercise we are actually doing. And again, you go back so that it will again try to receive. So every time this receive is a blocking mechanism. In the sense it has to wait. If no client sends any request, it will be waiting here itself forever. And whenever some request comes, then it will be filled into the packet. And then all this service mechanism. That's all. It is a simple method now. One constructor method and one run method. So the method is over. Now you are actually developing the main method. Main method now, as you can see, public static void main now because all our constructor as well as the run method, they throw the exception. They might throw the exception. So you have to put all of them inside the try block. So you say try curly brace begin. DG echo server. This is the name of our own server, our own class. S is equal to new DG echo server. Nothing. Right? In fact, we could have designed this such that we can pass the port as a parameter from here. Then it is going to be much more generic, much more useful. Otherwise, right now, always it is binding to only one number, fixed. But the better design is going to be pass the port number as a parameter to this so that it is going to do that. Anyhow, so no issue for the time being. You can say S is equal to new DG echo server. After creating the server object, the socket is ready, and you can say now S dot run. Then you are going to use that socket object to run the method. And while running the method, it's going to be forever. And any exceptions, you handle them and try to print. Any questions now? Any difficulty? All of you are there or not there? My voice is clear, not clear. What is that?
Your voice is clear, sir. Understood program.
No. Right? So it is a very simple, small program. Make necessary changes for your own understanding. Do all that. Right? So this is your server program. Now client program is the other one. Here we can see. So that means, as you can see, strictly speaking, if we come back actually, we are not using any of the input-output IO related things here actually. In which case you can remove this without having. This is not required to be safe. Like I might have just put it because we are not using any of them. If you want to simplify further, actually, as I said, let me incorporate these small changes. What I said, right? I am doing that. Int followed by port. Now it is going to be much more generic instead of binding always only to that and all that, like this, right? That's what I said. Then you can run the echo server on any port. If you want to run 2-3 servers, you can also do that on different ports and all that. It may not serve any purpose, but this is more generic, definitely. In which case, what are you going to do it? Here you are going to supply that. 44, 45, like this. This is much more useful. So you are running the echo server on port number 44, 45. You are passing on that particular information. Now, the other details, if you want to simplify some more things further, as we can see, get bytes, whatever, S is there and all that. So this is also not required as actually. Let me simplify here. Get address, right? Packet dot. Here itself, you are actually specifying packet dot get address must be in capital letter. Get address like this. Straight away you can do. Similarly, packet. So in the process, you are reducing the variable declaration. That's all what you are actually doing. So you call that particular get port. Now you can actually remove these two lines. These two lines also you can actually remove like this. Right? So like this, once you understand, you can always tune in without having any difficulty at all. And this entire thing can fit into a single line, no issue. So like this, all this, receive dot to uppercase, then receive dot get bytes. So here also, if you want either instead of passing on yes and all that, you can say as well receive dot get bytes. That's also possible, right? It's up to you. Like so, once you understand, you can make all the necessary changes to fit and all that. Anyhow, so this is the server side related thing. Client now, client is In the case of the client, let us see what we are actually doing. So import Java Net Store and IO Store class DG Echo client, and then private datagram socket. We require a socket, and IP address and port number of the server is required, right? IP address and port number of the server to which you need to send a packet. We require, right? For that, you are using the private INET address followed by address, and then byte array followed by buff. This is the client here, anyhow. So let us see. So just like there also we have done, like you require a byte array as such. But here you are not actually specifying any size and all that. So we'll see why we are not doing when you look into the program logic, definitely. When do you require the size there, and when a size is not required, you need to understand. So whenever you are creating a packet, right, to create a packet out of a buffer, out of an array of bytes, then that must be there. We look into that, like what it is and all that. So public DG Echo client throws exception. So you have to create a socket, definitely, even from the client side also, because socket is the only way by which you can send and receive the packets. So you are doing socket equal to new datagram socket. Here, if you examine, you are not giving any port number, because any port number is good enough for a client. Only when you want to give a specific port only on this port you run the client, then you need to give. If you are not giving any number here, that means datagram socket is going to create a new socket with any available port number. Is good enough for running the client. Because when the client sends a request, along with the sending of the request, client knows its own port number. It will send that. That's why the server can give the reply back. So you don't have to specify any port number here. Whereas when you are creating a datagram socket in the server side, as you can see here, you are actually creating new datagram socket of port number. A fixed port, actually you are trying to run that. So that is going to be useful for client to send to a known port number. This is called as naming the socket. Right? The other day we said named sockets. Named socket means a socket with a known port number. Unnamed socket means a socket with unknown number. It can be any number. Right? All right. Socket equal to this. So you have got the port number and all that. But now that you also need to know what is the address to which you want to send your request. So for that, you have methods called inet address dot get by name of followed by your what you call domain name. You can give any domain name here, including the IP address for whatever and all that. Because right now we are running everything on localhost. You are specifying that. But if you know, like you want to send something to your Google, you can specify google.com like that. If something is running like that. Any domain name or IP address also can be given by specifying that dotted decimal notation. So that will convert into an inet address format, so that can be used while creating the packet. So that's why you say you have already declared here inet address followed by address, right? And address equal to inet address dot get by name of all this. Actually, the best thing for this is going to be like what it is. Pass on the address of the corresponding thing in the form of a string. So we'll say string followed by IP address. Right, IP address or server address, actually, strictly speaking, server address in the form of a string. So here, then, in which case you can then connect to any kind of thing. So here you can specify server address. That's all. So still in the form of string only, but you have the flexibility of creating the DG Echo client object out of any server's IP address, whatever. Anyhow, so this is a constructor mechanism. Constructor mechanism to create a socket and know the address of the server where it should be sent. Now, this is actually given a name called send echo. It can be either send echo or run or whatever. It doesn't matter, right? So you are specifying now. The signature is public string send echo of string followed by message. What is the purpose of this particular method? Purpose of this method is to send this message. Is to send this message to the server. That's all what it is. Whenever you want to send any message, whenever the client wants to send any message, make a call onto this send echo method. Once it sends the message, right, it also returns ultimately. It's going to take care of sending the message and then receiving the response from there and return that. It's a very useful method. What is that client has to do? Client has to create this DG Echo client method, client object, and then whatever data that you want to send, use that by using send echo followed by that data. The same thing will give the reply back in the form of a string. That is the beauty of it. Now, what is to be done here in this? Because this is the message that you want to send. First, before sending, what is to be done? Convert that data into array of bytes. So already we have seen how to convert a string into an array of bytes. You don't have to declare an array with a known size. Only declare an array of byte variable. So buff is already there. So you say now buff is equal to message.getBytes. Message.getBytes. So we have converted what is the message to be sent into an array of bytes format, and that is now available in BUF. Once this is available, now we have to send it. Right? So in order to send it, you have to create a packet. So you say datagram packet equal to new datagram packet out of what? Out of this particular buff comma. And then this already it is created. It is an array. It knows its own size and all that. And this buff is created exactly to fit the message. So naturally buff dot length. So buff dot length. Or in fact, this is nothing but message dot length. As many characters are there. Now this is the actual data. Now where should this packet must be delivered? To the server. So server address is available in this address variable. So you say address here. Comma. And what is the port where you have to send it? So you specify 4445. This also, if you want to always send the same thing and all that, you can create a port number here, fix it, and then use that instead of giving a number like this. Either way, for the time being, we will use it this particular manner. Right? So we have created a packet. Once we create the packet, what do? We use the socket to send the packet. So socket dot send of packet. After creating the packet, you say socket dot send of packet. So it's going to send the packet. After that, what? The server will do all the required thing and give a reply back. So you have to now again receive it. To receive it, what do? You have to again create a packet. So packet equal to new datagram packet of buff comma, because this particular buff now, right, has enough space to to actually receive the converted thing. But in case you expect the result to be not to be of the same size kind of thing, then you may have to actually specify even a different array of bytes actually. In this case, we know that you are sending the request. Your response size also is of the same size. So that's why you are not, this is going to work. But if your response size is likely to be even more and all that, then you may have to actually create a different array of buff with more size and then use that particular thing. So in this case, you don't require, but new datagram packet of the same buff, and what is the maximum size that you can receive is buff dot length. Buff dot length. So you have created a packet because now you are about to receive it. So you don't know the IP address and port number. Only these two details you have to give. And then receive, socket dot receive of packet. Once you receive it, the result is available now in buff. Result is now available in buff. But that is an array of bytes. So you have to convert that back into a string. So you say string received is equal to new string of buff comma 0 comma packet dot length. Right? And then whatever that you have received, you are returning that back to the, like whoever is going to call this send echo. So send echo, what it is doing, it is taking the string that is to be sent to the server and receive the response and return that response as a string back. So that is the beauty of it. The entire thing it is doing. And this send echo can be used as many times as you want. For every data that you want to send, you call that in a kind of a loop or whatever. So at the end of it, whenever you want to close this socket, you are specifying one method for that. Maybe we can use it whenever you want, all that. So close method. So in order to close this socket. And then public static void main, this is the actual thing, as you can see. Because you are invoking certain things where you are likely to throw the exceptions, so use try. Now, what is the purpose of this main method in the client? It should actually read the data from the standard input. So, in order to read the data from the standard input, you are using data input stream dis equal to new data input stream of system.n. Because this data input stream contains a method called a read line method. That read line method you want to use. That's why you are using new data input stream. But it is actually deprecated. For that, if you want to actually use a safe kind of thing, you should go for buffered reader. Buffered reader. If you create a buffered reader object, in that also you have a read line method. And the read line method in buffered reader is what it is a better option because it can be used. Whereas this read line method in data input stream is deprecated, is likely to be removed in future, like Java platforms, right? So that's why all that. Anyhow, so you are creating a data input stream object, and now forever, like as long as it is not end kind of thing. So you say string line equal to empty. Now you create the echo client, DJ echo client, C equal to new DJ echo client of. Here, you should pass on the string now, right? We have modified. So you say local host. Local host here. So as a parameter now, you have parameterized that. So that's why you send that particular thing. And then while not line dot equals of n. So initially line is empty. So naturally line empty dot equals of n. Is empty equal to n? No. So that's why it goes into the loop. And then reads one line. dis dot read line. So it's going to read one line from the end user. So whatever line that you have read, what is to be done? You must send it to the server. So C dot. So you are using the object here. C dot send echo of line. And this C dot send echo of line, it returns a converted thing. So that you are again assigning it to the variable. Either you can use the same variable, or if you want, you can use another variable also. No issue. Now you are printing the returned line. So system dot out dot println of line. So one line you are basically reading. Whatever you are typing will be there. And the other one you are printing the uppercase conversion. So as long as it is not, it is continuously interacting with the user, reading one line, sending it, reading another line, sending it. and whenever it is end, it will get out of the loop. It will get out of the loop. And after doing that, what it should do? It should close the socket. So it says C dot close. C dot close. Because this close method here is a method on this. Or you can directly use even socket dot close. Right? If you want. No issue. Because socket is socket available directly? Socket is not available directly. Socket is what it is? It is a part of the object. So directly you can't use the socket. Socket object directly is not directly available. It is a part of the C as such. So if you want to use in that particular thing, if you don't want to use this, you have to use C dot socket dot close. That kind of stuff you have to do. Okay, let it be there, no problem. Essentially, all that you are doing. So at the end of the try block, use a catch. It is a simple mechanism. Right? Any questions here? This is the client side program. Right? We can save it. After doing all this, if you want some kind of a prompt and all that, we can also prompt it. I think it's a better mechanism. We can prompt the user. So prompt the user system.out.print no line. Here some prompting within this. So you can say dollar or something like that. Whenever it displays the dollar, client is ready to accept one more string or whatever. Right? So I will say dollar. Dollar is good enough. So it is some kind of understanding whenever you develop all this. Okay. So everything is done now. Now we can compile and do all that particular thing. So first we have to terminate the existing thing. 4062 must be terminated. So we say kill -9. Existing server you are removing. Right? So that is it. Now you have to compile it. So Java followed by C. Java C followed by DG echo server dot Java. So compile it. Similarly, we have to compile the client side related things. Right? Client. Now it is giving these things. Users or overrides a deprecated API. So you are using actually some of the outdated things. That is what it is saying. Because of that data input stream, read line method. But if you convert that into buffer reader, then you don't get these messages. But it will work now. Right? Remember that. So now after doing this, you have to run this server. This is the server. Run this server. So it is running. Now you have to run the client. Java followed by this. Now you can see, but there is a confusion maybe whether this dollar is because of the shell this thing or our own thing. That confusion is there. Maybe we will display some other kind of thing, dollar followed by something or whatever. For the time being, we have to give the data, no issue. So what is to be given right now? It is today is right Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. So it's saying Today is Tuesday, send and convert it back. So you send next class. Is on Thursday, like that, whatever. So and so on. At the end, you say end, and then it's going to. Now you can see, right? So these are the things. So maybe one small change that we can do is better thing is that not a dollar, but we should have something else. Maybe we will have something like this, dollar followed by this. This is the prompt. Not even dollar. Dollar is there. We will always be confused. Like this. This kind of prompt. In this particular manner. Save it. So now we have to compile the client only. Client only we have changed, right? Client this thing, recompile. Server, there is no change. We have not made any changes. So you can run the client once again without having any issue. You see, this is the output now, input or whatever. What shall we do? Datagram. Test. So datagram, test, whatever. So again, it is actually trying to do that and so on. Print in uppercase. Print in upper. Like this. So ultimately, you can always say end. So we have not even made any changes to the server. Server is continuously running. It doesn't even know whether the modified client is interacting with it or not and all that. So like this, you should actually try to understand and develop the programs, right? At your own pace, make changes, whatever is required, right? Then everything will be all right. So what is the time now? I am not in a position to plan my 9:30. Okay. So any like kind of interaction from you, otherwise we will move on to something else. So how are all of you doing? Are you preparing? What is your this thing? You are in a denial mode, not in a speaking conditions.
No, sir.
How are the things?
Nice.
Other candidates, you have put just your mobile phone there and left there. What?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir, we are listening.
No, it's up to you. There's no problem. It is, after all, it is your life, right? So I believe in that. So you have all the freedom and you have the responsibility. Both are there, and it is your life. And because we are working for a university, we have a role, and I have to do my job, and I am trying to do that to the level best, whatever I can. So that's the reason why I try to interact, so that if there are any difficulties, whatever you express, I am here to, like maybe to address as far as possible, right? Anyhow, so we have then written all the programs, right? So maybe let me show you even that particular error message you want to actually leave it. What you can actually do that, right? How to use the buffered reader and continue that. That is a better practice, in fact. So what you can do is this line is to be replaced now. This line is to be replaced by buffered reader. So you say BU buffered reader. So what you are basically trying to look for is a kind of reading one line. Which class in IO package will help you to read one line at a time? You are looking for that. That's all what you are doing. So buffered reader You can either you say DAS, the same name if you don't want to change inside, or if you want to give a meaningful name, you can give BR. Buffered reader BR is equal to new buffered reader of we can't directly give the system.in because it doesn't take like that. Problem. Let us see here. There are problems like which streams are different, input stream, output stream, those are all different. That is the old style where it is array of bytes kind of thing is going to continuously flow in and all. Reader writer classes are more useful with respect to the text data, text input, like ASCII or uh, like uh, the other types of normal text that you can actually see. Whereas input streams and the streams actually are more useful, in the sense more generic. You can use the streams both for sending text as well as non-text data. Non-text data. Also, you can use that. Whereas here, when you do like this, if you directly create new buffer reader of system.in, it doesn't accept that way because there is no constructor method in buffer reader that takes a stream object. It's now taking a stream object actually. So whenever you do like this, like a BR now, BR is here, you have to make the necessary change, BR, and the other things are the same. Now you can see here, and then compile the client list. You will get the error message because there is no constructor there, that kind of stuff. You can see here, input stream cannot be converted to reader. That's the problem. So for that, there is only one direct mechanism. So whereby there is another thing called a new input stream reader. Input stream reader. I don't know, like maybe let us see here. New input stream reader of system.in. What this input stream reader will do is it will take a stream object as an input because system.in is a stream object, input stream object. So this input stream reader will take a stream object and returns a reader object. And buffer reader can actually, you can create an object when a reader object is passed as an argument to buffer reader. So this input stream reader is a conversion mechanism from a stream to the reader. That's all what you are actually doing. Now you save it, come back. Right? So you see now, you are not seeing any of those deprecated, that, this, and all that. Right? Everything is smooth now. Like that means you are more updated. You're using appropriate methods and all that. That's what I told because time is there. I'm just showing you what and all it is happening. Now, whether it works or not, also you have to test it. So you see, Java followed by DG echo client. So again, you give like a ROM is a great king. Right? So you get that particular thing converted and all that. So Sita is the wife. Like this. And then ultimately say end is done. Right? So you can test it now any number of times. So line 1 and then end it. In this particular manner. So that's the small change that you'll have to do it. Now you can safely remove this particular line, right? You don't require all this. So you are using like this. In other programs also now, so wherever you are using data input stream to read a line, remove that particular mechanism and try to use a buffer reader to read the lines. That is more meaningful. So essentially, all of you have to actually start using the machine start writing programs and trying to understand and slowly become better and better on a day-to-day basis, right? So almost we are done with the Java of this thing. RMI is there now. RMI is an outdated one again. Maybe I may not actually go into that immediately. Whatever are more practical and useful to you, I'm just going into that. From next week onwards, next class onwards, rather, three important system calls are now remaining. IPCs, right? Your semaphores, shared memory, and message queues. Those three mechanisms of inter-process communication. We'll have to actually try to understand those concepts, how to develop programs, all that. Uh, we will have to actually look into that in the next class only. For that, you can make use of the that book, right? Our Linux programming book is there, Stones or whatever. That you can start reading. Maybe when you come to the next class, you can read what it is to begin with. We will try to first cover the shared memory. We'll cover the shared memory to begin with, message queues, and then the semaphores, right? That is the order in which we will be going. Shared memory, message queues, and semaphores. So that is how we will be doing. And this part is done. So what changes did we make? Right. Maybe okay. So with us in the this thing, I think we have reached to a level where we can close the session for today's this thing. Unless you have any questions, we will be closing all of them. So at this stage, about 16 candidates are there. So another 16 are taking leisure, right? By paying all the fee to the university, or maybe fee reimbursement government is paying, right? And you are just wandering here and there, not knowing what to do in the life. I don't know when all of you realize. So, any placement support is there to all of you? Not it?
It is there, sir.
Going on, already started?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet. మీ డేటా కలెక్ట్ చేశారా అంతేనా ఇంకా కంపెనీస్ రావడం అది లేదు ఓకే
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all right. So for today, like I'm just closing then. Now you just prepare on those IPC related stuff, right? So this recording concept. Let me stop recording.